Americans drink hundreds of millions of gallons of wine every year, yet most bottles on grocery shelves taste suspiciously similar. That's not an accident. Today we're ranking 15 famous wine brands from worst to best, not by label hype, influencer dinners, or how often your aunt buys them, but by what actually hits the glass. Flavor, balance, consistency, and whether you'd willingly pour a second serving. This countdown will ruffle feathers, start comment wars, and maybe save you money at checkout. Let's start at the bottom. Number 15, Franzia. Franzia doesn't pretend to be elegant. It doesn't whisper vineyard romance or hint at terroir. It shows up in a cardboard box with a plastic spout and says, "I'm here to get the job done." And for decades that honesty worked. Franzia became the go-to wine for house parties, weddings on a budget, and any gathering where cups outnumber conversations. The problem is that taste was never the priority. Most Franzia varieties blur into the same sweet, diluted profile, regardless of what's written on the box. Reds lean sugary and flat. Whites feel watery and short-lived. Texture barely exists, and structure is almost non-existent. It's wine engineered for volume, not enjoyment. Franzia survives because it's cheap, consistent, and familiar. Nobody expects nuance. Nobody expects balance. But when a wine ranking is about what belongs in your glass, not what survives a weekend party, Franzia lands dead last. It's not offensive, it's just empty. When the best compliment is, "At least it's cold," the conversation is already over. Number 14, Carlo Rossi. Carlo Rossi feels like a time capsule from another era of American drinking. Giant glass jugs, rounded fonts, the quiet confidence of a brand that never bothered to reinvent itself because it didn't have to. For years, Carlo Rossi was the definition of family gatherings, big dinners, and wine poured without measurement. In the glass, though, that nostalgia fades fast. Most Carlo Rossi wines skew soft, sweet, and indistinct. Reds taste more like vague fruit syrup than fermented grapes. Whites drift toward blandness, offering little acidity or grip to keep things interesting. There's no real tension, no evolution from sip to swallow. Everything arrives at once and leaves just as quickly. Carlo Rossi's strength has always been accessibility. You don't need wine knowledge. You don't need context. You just pour. But that same simplicity becomes its weakness. Nothing challenges you. Nothing surprises you. It's wine designed to be ignored while life happens around it. That's why it ranks near the bottom. Not because it's terrible, but because it asks nothing from the drinker and gives very little back in return. Number 13, Barefoot. Barefoot is the friendliest face in American wine. The labels smile, the names feel casual. The message is clear. Wine doesn't have to be serious, complicated, or intimidating. And for millions of people, Barefoot was their first step into drinking wine at all. Flavor-wise, Barefoot keeps things intentionally simple. Fruit-forward profiles dominate. Sweetness is dialed up just enough to feel comforting. Acidity stays polite. Tannins rarely speak. Everything is engineered for approachability, which makes these wines easy to drink, especially for beginners. But that same design limits growth. After a few glasses, Barefoot wines start blending together. Pinot Grigio, Moscato, Merlot. They differ in name more than personality. The wines rarely evolve in the glass, and complexity never really shows up. Barefoot earns respect for welcoming people into wine culture without pressure. That matters. But in a ranking focused on taste and character, it stalls in the lower tier. It's training wheels wine. Useful at the start, but eventually, you want something that pushes back just a little. If this ranking is already making you uncomfortable, hit like and subscribe. These videos exist so you don't waste money learning the hard way. And drop a comment if your favorite bottle shows up today. I promise we're just getting started. Number 12, Yellowtail. Yellowtail didn't conquer American shelves by accident. It arrived loud, colorful, and confident, offering wine that tasted exactly the same every time, no matter the state or store. That reliability built trust fast. In the glass, Yellowtail leans heavily into ripe fruit and softness. Reds are smooth, slightly sweet, and easygoing. Whites are clean, uncomplicated, and designed to offend no one. There's nothing sharp, nothing aggressive, and nothing that demands attention. For casual drinkers, that's a feature. Yellowtail works at barbecues, weeknight dinners, and parties where wine is just part of the background. But for anyone listening closely to what's happening in the glass, the experience feels shallow. The wines rarely develop, and the finish disappears almost as soon as it arrives. Yellowtail sits here because it delivers exactly what it promises: consistency, ease, familiarity. But flavor depth takes a back seat, and once you notice that, it's hard to unnotice. It's fine wine, just not a memorable wine. 11. Sutter Home. Sutter Home carries serious historical weight. It helped define American table wine and played a massive role in popularizing styles that made wine feel normal, not elite. For decades, it was a staple on dinner tables across the country. Taste-wise, Sutter Home stays firmly in the comfort zone. The wines favor softness over structure and sweetness over edge. White Zinfandel, its most famous offering, remains gentle, fruity, and easy to drink. Other varietals follow a similar path, prioritizing familiarity over flair. What keeps Sutter Home above the lowest ranks is balance. While simple, many of its wines feel more intentional than pure budget options. Acidity shows up when it needs to. Alcohol rarely overwhelms. The wines know what they are. Still, excitement is limited. These bottles don't invite exploration. They don't change much from year to year. Sutter Home is dependable, steady, and predictable. That reliability earns it a spot just outside the bottom tier. Respectable, but rarely thrilling. Number 10. Cupcake Vineyards. Cupcake Vineyards sells a feeling before it sells a drink. The name alone sets expectations: soft, sweet, comforting. This is wine designed to feel like a treat, not a challenge. For many casual drinkers, that's exactly the appeal. You don't brace yourself before the first sip. You relax. In the glass, cupcake wines lean into roundness and richness. Reds often carry plush fruit and a gentle, almost creamy texture. Whites feel smooth and polished, with sweetness hovering just above the line of restraint. Everything is engineered to feel pleasant immediately, with no sharp turns or demanding edges. But that comfort comes at a cost. After a few sips, the experience plateaus. There's little tension, little evolution, and almost no surprise. The wines tend to announce themselves early, then repeat the same note until the glass is empty. Cupcake lands here because it knows its audience and serves them well. It's dependable, friendly, and easy to enjoy. But when wine becomes dessert in disguise, it loses the complexity that keeps you thinking long after the bottle is gone. Number 9. Apothic. Apothic didn't just sell wine, it sold drama. Dark labels, bold names, and a promise of intensity pulled people in who thought wine was boring or pretentious. Apothic Red, in particular, became a phenomenon by offering something unmistakably loud. The flavor follows that same philosophy: big fruit, heavy body, and a smooth, almost syrupy finish define the experience. There's richness here, but it's layered more by sweetness and weight than by structure. The wines hit hard up front, making them instantly appealing to drinkers who want impact without acidity getting in the way. Apothic's strength is its confidence. It doesn't pretend to be subtle. It knows exactly what it's doing, and for a lot of people, that works. The problem is longevity. One glass feels indulgent, two can feel exhausting. The boldness that draws you in starts crowding the palate. That's why Apothic sits in the middle of the list. It delivers a clear identity and undeniable appeal, but it sacrifices balance in the process. It's a wine you remember, just not always for the right reasons. Number 8. 19 Crimes. 19 Crimes feels more like an experience than a beverage. The stories on the label, the rebellious tone, even the way the bottle looks on a table, all signal that this wine wants attention. And it gets it. In the glass, the wines tend to be bold, approachable, and heavily stylized. Dark fruit dominates. Oak influence shows up early. Everything is designed to feel dramatic rather than restrained. These are wines that announce themselves loudly, then settle into a smooth, crowd-friendly rhythm. What separates 19 Crimes from lower-ranked brands is intention. The wines aren't accidental. They're built to match the storytelling. The flavor matches the attitude. Still, complexity takes a back seat. Subtlety isn't part of the mission. 19 Crimes ranks here because it succeeds at what it sets out to do. It pulls people into wine culture through narrative and accessibility. But once the story fades, the liquid itself doesn't always hold up under scrutiny. It's engaging, memorable, and fun, yet rarely deep enough to linger in your thoughts after the bottle's empty. Number 7. Beringer. Beringer carries weight, real history, real vineyards, real influence on how Americans think about Napa Valley. That legacy shows in moments, especially when you land on the right bottle. Beringer's lineup is wide, and that's both its strength and its weakness. Some offerings feel thoughtfully made, with solid structure, balanced acidity, and flavors that unfold rather than rush. Others drift toward mass-market softness, sacrificing personality for consistency. When Beringer gets it right, the wines feel grounded and confident. There's a sense of place, even at accessible price points. When it misses, the wines feel safe to the point of being forgettable. Nothing is wrong, but nothing stands out either. Beringer earns its place above the mid-tier because it still produces bottles that remind people why Napa matters. The issue is unevenness. You have to choose carefully. That inconsistency keeps it from climbing higher, but its peaks are strong enough to separate it from purely commercial brands below. Number 6. Josh Cellars. Josh Cellars feels like the bottle you bring when you want approval without conversation. It's tasteful. It's reliable. It quietly signals that you know what you're doing, even if you're not trying to impress anyone. In the glass, Josh wines are balanced and approachable. Reds show controlled fruit with enough structure to feel serious without turning stern. Whites are clean, fresh, and composed. Nothing screams for attention, yet nothing feels lazy either. What makes Josh stand out is consistency. No matter the varietal, the wines maintain a sense of intention. They feel designed for repeat drinking rather than one dramatic moment. You can pour a second glass without hesitation, and that matters more than people admit. Josh Cellars lands just outside the top tier because it excels at everyday quality. It doesn't chase extremes. It doesn't hide behind gimmicks. It simply delivers dependable wine that respects the drinker's palate. That quiet competence carries real weight in a market full of noise. Number 5. Kendall Jackson. Kendall Jackson sits at a strange crossroads in American wine culture. It's everywhere, yet rarely questioned. For decades, it's been the bottle people reach for when they want something that feels premium without stepping into unfamiliar territory. That positioning didn't happen by luck. It was built carefully, one consistent release at a time. In the glass, Kendall Jackson wines often lean richer than expected. The flagship Chardonnay in particular helped define a generation's taste for fuller-bodied whites, with ripe fruit and a rounded mouthfeel that feels deliberate rather than accidental. Reds follow a similar logic, structured enough to feel serious, yet smooth enough to avoid intimidation. What keeps Kendall Jackson in the top 5 is restraint. Even when the wines go bold, they rarely tip into excess. There's a balance holding everything together, and that balance makes them reliable across different settings. Dinner parties, restaurants, quiet nights at home, The bottle adapts. It doesn't chase trends or shock value. Instead, it rewards familiarity. Kendall Jackson earns its ranking because it consistently delivers wine that feels composed, thoughtful, and dependable, even when millions of bottles are involved. Number 4. Kim Crawford. Kim Crawford made its name by turning freshness into a signature. For many American drinkers, this was the wine that redefined what crisp could feel like. It didn't whisper, it snapped, and that clarity changed expectations. The Sauvignon Blanc is the anchor. Bright, expressive, and immediately recognizable, it delivers vibrant flavors that cut cleanly across the palate. There's energy here, not weight. Each sip feels like it resets your mouth rather than coating it. That sharpness makes it endlessly drinkable, especially alongside food. What elevates Kim Crawford above many competitors is the consistency of identity. You know what you're getting before the cork comes out. The wine doesn't wander or dilute its personality. It shows up focused and confident. That clarity has limits. Some drinkers eventually crave more depth or variation. Kim Crawford rarely surprises, but in a crowded market, being unmistakable counts for a lot. It earns 4th place because it executes its vision cleanly, delivering a refreshing experience that stays true to itself, bottle after bottle. Number 3. Meiomi. Meiomi divides rooms faster than almost any wine on this list. Mention it casually, and you'll see eyebrows rise on both sides. Some people swear by it, others question whether it belongs in its category at all. That tension alone tells you how influential it's been. In the glass, Meiomi is bold, lush, and unapologetically smooth. The fruit feels ripe and generous, wrapped in a texture that leans closer to indulgence than restraint. It's engineered to feel luxurious, even comforting, from the first sip. The controversy comes from expectations. Traditionalists argue it strays too far from classic expressions. Fans don't care. They value how it drinks, not how it fits the theory. And that's why Meiomi succeeds. It speaks directly to the palate of modern consumers who want richness without friction. Meiomi ranks this high because it delivers exactly what its audience wants, consistently and confidently. It may not play by old rules, but it rewrote a new one. That impact alone secures its place near the top. Number 2. Chateau Ste. Michelle. Chateau Ste. Michelle feels like a quiet giant. It doesn't rely on flashy branding or dramatic statements. Instead, it built its reputation by steadily proving that American wine quality doesn't have to come from the usual places. The wines often strike a smart balance between freshness and structure. Rieslings show control and elegance. Reds carry enough depth to feel serious without becoming heavy. There's an underlying sense of precision that separates these bottles from many mass-market peers. What makes Chateau Ste. Michelle special is value. The wines consistently punch above their price range, offering complexity that feels intentional rather than manufactured. They reward attention without demanding expertise. This brand sits just shy of the top spot because it excels quietly. It doesn't dominate conversations, but it earns loyalty. Over time, that trust compounds. Chateau Ste. Michelle ranks 2nd because it proves that scale and integrity don't have to cancel each other out. It's wine made with purpose, not noise. Number 1. The Prisoner. The Prisoner didn't just climb to the top, it stormed there. From the moment it entered the market, it challenged how people thought about red blends. This wasn't background wine, it was a statement. In the glass, the Prisoner is dense, layered, and unmistakably bold. Dark fruit, structure, and intensity arrive together, creating a profile that demands attention. Each sip feels deliberate, crafted to linger rather than disappear. What separates the Prisoner from other powerful wines is control. Despite its richness, it avoids chaos. There's tension holding everything together, allowing the wine to feel expressive instead of overwhelming. That balance is difficult to achieve at scale, yet it's executed consistently. The Prisoner earns the top spot because it's memorable. It changes expectations. It's the bottle people talk about after dinner ends. In a market flooded with safe choices, The Prisoner dares to feel distinctive. That courage, paired with execution, makes it the best of the bunch. Wine wins when it balances flavor, consistency, and intention. The worst bottles fade into the background. The best earn a second pour. If your favorite didn't land where you expected, argue it in the comments and subscribe for the next ranking.